I'm Matt Gilhooly, and this is The Life Shift, candid conversations about the pivotal moments that have changed lives forever. Hello, my friends. Welcome to day 20 of 30 days, 30 episodes on the Life Shift podcast. This is a bonus series in which every day I am showing up in front of this mic and responding to a prompt or a question or a thought that's in my mind. And sometimes it's a little deep and sometimes it's very surface level, and I never really know what I'm going to talk about. So here we are again on day 20. There are 30 days this month, so we're almost there. Hopefully you've been along for the ride and you've learned a little bit more about me. Yesterday was a tough day, and I talked about that on the episode. And I think it's really important to share how we're feeling and make it more public. Like I said yesterday, it's just kind of getting it out of my head helps so much. And so by the end of the day, I felt a little bit better. Today, I feel a little bit better. I have a couple things that are on my mind, and I will process those and work through those and try not to let them overtake how I am feeling. So today, I guess I will go a little bit lighter. Yesterday, as part of the things that I was talking about kind of like the perception of podcasts and growth and opportunities that exist for independent podcasters. It's not as much as the bigger podcasters out there, right? There are bigger names and bigger agencies and connections and producing partners and companies that can connect people to bigger folks, I guess. Bigger folks? I don't know what that means. But essentially, like, I don't know, celebrities or people that are popular across the country or the world. I love talking to everyday people, but also those celebrities are everyday people as well. They just live in a world that sometimes some of us cannot understand. So I was thinking about how amazing it would be to be connected to some of these people that I would just be so curious to talk about their pivotal moments and the things that have changed their lives. So high on my list would be Kelly Clarkson. I think that would be a really interesting conversation. She seems really open and down to earth and shares a lot of her feelings out loud on her show. And I'm sure some of it's edited out, so I'm guessing she says a lot more. So it'd be really interesting to have just this normal, if you could call it that, conversation on the podcast. And the way I envision this show is so much like the conversations I wish people would have that others could overhear. So those more personal conversations. So Kelly Clarkson would be really interesting to talk to. I also think I would really I know I would really love to talk to Jennifer Nettles. She is an amazing performer and singer, part of Sugarland, but also does her own thing. And I used to say, like, when Sugarland would come out with new music, like, watching her perform always made me happy because you could tell how much she was enjoying that particular experience and what she was doing. Now, she very well could have been faking it, but it would be really interesting to see if she had pivotal moments in which her life really changed. And it's probably not the things that we think of, right? We might know about certain things that have happened in her career or Kelly Clarkson's career and think, oh, that must be the pivotal moment. But sometimes it's these little innocuous moments. I'd also really like to talk to Sara Haines, who is a co-host of The View. She is one of my favorites on The View because she's so just open with how she is feeling, whether that's related to her mental health, whether that's related to the politics that she's talking about that day with the ladies at the table. But I really think she seems like someone that could have a really wonderful conversation, and I wouldn't feel like intimidated because of the way that she puts herself out there and really is just vulnerable in a very large space of the audience of The View. So I'd love to talk to Sara Haines from The View. I mean, one thing that's really cool, and it would be awesome to talk to him as well, is the executive producer of The View is Brian Teta, and he started this podcast, and all the ladies give him a hard time about it, but it's really a great podcast, and it's related to The View. It's like behind the table, and you get to have these one-on-one conversations that he has with each co-host separately and talks a little bit more about the topics. So it'd be really interesting to talk to Brian Teta, because he has like this job that's, for me, admittedly, I like to watch The View. He has this job that seems like super cool and super stressful, but super cool. And the opportunity to do that. Plus, he has this podcast now that he really loves, and it's kind of cool to hear it evolve. So if you're listening, definitely would like that. I'd also like to talk to other people that my friends work with or friends that I have. My friend Randy Rainbow from high school. I mean, I see him every once in a while when he has tours or when his new books are out or things like that. But it'd be fun to have a conversation since I know him from way back then. Not as much now because, you know, we live our own lives, but it'd be fun to talk to Randy on this podcast in this way, because I don't think we've ever had a conversation that kind of falls in the way of the Life Shift podcast. So maybe I will reach out and we'll make that happen. I've been fortunate enough to talk to like Tony winners, like Levi Kreis and Lolo and people like that. So that was super cool. I'm trying to think of who else would be on my list. I think Tyler Whitman from Million Dollar Listing, New York. That would be fun. He had his own podcast, and it was really interesting to listen to, and actually picked out a pivotal moment that he talked about on one of the episodes about a Craigslist ad that he did once that really changed the trajectory of his career. And I would think it would be really awesome to talk about that moment with Tyler, but I'm sure he has other moments maybe that he feels are more pivotal. So if anyone knows anyone that is maybe in a space that seems unattainable, maybe for 2025, you can help me meet a goal of connecting with someone at that level that might want to sit down with someone like me, who is just a Matt from Florida and has this podcast and this space where we're creating these conversations. And maybe you want to help and connect me with these people, or you can teach me how to reach out and see if they will be a part of it. But in any case, Kelly Clarkson, Jennifer Nettles, Sara Haines, Brian Teta, Randy Rainbow, Tyler Whitman. Who else? Who else can we get on the Life Shift podcast, or who else can we dream about for 2025? So I guess maybe that's what this podcast episode is about today, is dreaming about potential guests for the show outside of these wonderful humans that I get to talk to every single week and that I will continue to talk to. But if I had some dream, like out of reach people to invite to the Life Shift podcast and have a candid conversation about the pivotal moment in their life that's changed everything, maybe this is the start of a list. So if you have some ideas, or you have people that you know that you want to connect me with, please do. It would be so great and so wonderful to kind of expand the Life Shift podcast in that way. So thank you for being a part of this journey. Thank you for potentially contributing to the list of dream guests for the Life Shift podcast. But I'm not going anywhere, so we will continue on. And if you can help, please do. I'll talk to you on day 21, which is tomorrow. So have a great day. For more information, please visit www.thelifeshiftpodcast.com.